Hi BookTube, I'm here with what might be a controversial video. Now, I know a lot of people feel pressured to read and enjoy classic novels. These books are classic for a reason. They have survived the test of time. They're constantly recommended. They're making all the top 100 or top 10 lists of books that you should read. But I'm here to say that you should not feel guilty about not liking these books. That tastes differ, and that sometimes it's okay to hate classics. So here are the 3 classic novels that I hate. Top of my list seems to be a book that a lot of people like. So please don't hate me. It's just not my book. I've read it every year I was in school since I was in grade 12. And let me tell you, it does not get better. This is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. No, I love the story. I love the story of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. My problem lies with Jane Austen's writing. I've read other novels by Jane Austen where it's not as bad. Northanger Abbey is actually one of my favorite books. But Pride and Prejudice just grates me. I even wrote an essay on Pride and Prejudice in my last year of university because I was sick of the book by that time. So I don't want to get too deep into it because it involved a lot of theory about the gaze and Lacanian philosophy. But it basically boiled down to Elizabeth Bennet in the novel never actually looks at Darcy. It's always Darcy looking down or at her. So I found that kind of strange in this supposedly exalted feminist novel that, you know, the person that you're in love with doesn't actually look at you and you allow him to have that power over you. Whatever, that's enough of my rant about Pride and Prejudice. My second classic I hated is actually a science fiction classic, and this is Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. Heinlein for me is really a hit and miss kind of author. I loved Stranger in a Strange Land. It is one of my top books of this year so far. But Starship Troopers was horrible. It had promise in the first half of the book. I was really enjoying it. But then it seemed as soon as action was called for, as soon as the main character was supposed to head off to the alien planet to fight the bugs, Heinlein hiccuped, he hesitated, and he didn't know how to write the action scene, so he just took what he put in the first half of the book and reiterated it in the second half of the book. It was a lot of pro-military, pro-war propaganda that does not jive with my philosophy. So I wasn't eager to read it all over again. Like I'm telling you, it was just almost word for word what happened in the first half of the book. And it was horrible. The third and last classic I hated is a modern classic. It's Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Pirsig. I was super excited to read this. It seemed like to fit in with my philosophy. And while I did agree with a lot of what Pirsig had to say, I didn't like the way in which he said it. This man berates everyone who doesn't agree with his philosophy and kind of acts superior and arrogant if you don't agree with him and if you don't do things his way. And that's my real problem with that book. It just irritates me so much to have someone who, even though I agree with their philosophy, has to be so very arrogant about it. those are the 3 classics that I hated the most. Let me know down below if you've hated any classic novels and why. And remember to keep on reading.
They sucked his brains out.
Hey, you might want to check out Pickle's Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and other social media links in the description bar underneath.